You've probably missed it a dozen times. The signs were there, clear as daylight. But you were too busy being polite, too distracted by your own thoughts, too convinced that women communicate in some mystical code you'll never crack. They don't. Women who want you sexually aren't subtle. They're strategic. They test. They probe. They ask specific questions designed to extract specific information. And if you don't recognize what's happening, the moment passes. She moves on. You go home none the wiser. Here's what nobody tells you about female desire. It doesn't announce itself with violins and rose petals. It shows up in seemingly casual conversation, in questions that sound innocent but aren't, in a particular sequence that happens more often than you'd think if you knew what to listen for. 3 questions, always 3. Before she decides whether you're worth the risk, worth the energy, worth breaking her routine for, she needs to know certain things. Not your favorite color, not your zodiac sign, not whether you believe in soulmates. She needs logistical information, practical data, the kind that determines whether this attraction can become action or whether it stays a fleeting thought she'll forget by morning. Let's start with what this isn't about. This isn't about love. This isn't about building a future together or finding emotional connection. Those are different conversations with different questions. This is purely physical. This is a woman who has already decided on some level that she's attracted to you. Her body has responded. Her mind is engaged. Now she's in the assessment phase. Most men completely miss this phase because they're waiting for something more obvious. They're waiting for her to lean in close and whisper something explicit. They're waiting for unmistakable signals that only exist in movies and poorly written fiction. Real desire is quieter than that and significantly more calculated. Question 1 usually comes early in the interaction, often within the first 10 to 15 minutes if she's already interested, or later in the conversation if the attraction builds gradually. She asks about your living situation. Not in those exact words, obviously. She's not conducting an interview. But the question arrives, disguised as small talk, wrapped in casual curiosity. Do you live around here? Do you have roommates? Is your place nearby? Men hear these as friendly questions. They answer without thinking. They volunteer information about their apartment being 10 minutes away, or mention that their roommate is out of town this week, or explain that they just moved to a place with a better view. They have no idea what they just revealed. She's not asking because she cares about your commute. She's not interested in your interior design choices. She's determining logistics. She's mapping out scenarios in her head. She's figuring out if spontaneity is possible or if complications exist. If you live with your parents, that's a complication. If you have 3 roommates who are always home, that's a complication. If you're staying temporarily at a friend's place across town, that's a complication. But if you live alone, or your roommate works nights, or your place is walking distance from where you're standing right now, she files that information away. The scenario becomes feasible. The mental barrier between attraction and action gets a little thinner. This question isn't random, it's reconnaissance. Watch what happens after you answer. If the news is favorable, she doesn't drop the subject immediately. She asks a follow-up. She confirms. She wants to be certain she understood correctly. Oh, so you live by yourself? That must be nice, having your own space. Is it a quiet building? She's not making conversation. She's confirming logistics. She's double-checking that what you said matches what she needs to hear. And then she moves to question 2. This one's even more subtle because it sounds like she's talking about herself, when really she's gathering information about you. She asks about your schedule, your availability, your constraints. Do you have to be up early tomorrow? Are you working this weekend? Do you usually stay out late on weeknights? Men interpret this as her showing interest in their life. They think she wants to get to know them. They answer enthusiastically, sometimes even volunteering extra details about their job or their workout routine or their morning meetings. They're missing the point entirely. She doesn't care about your career. Not in this moment. She cares about your availability in the next few hours. She cares about whether you have obligations that would make spontaneity impossible. She cares about whether you be rushed, distracted, or pressured by time. If you have to be at work at 6 in the morning, that affects the scenario. If you're meeting friends in an hour, that affects the scenario. If you're the type who never deviates from your routine, that affects the scenario. But if your evening is open, if tomorrow's schedule is flexible, if you're the kind of person who can be spontaneous without anxiety, she files that away too. Another barrier removed. Another complication eliminated. The beauty of this question is that most men never connect it to the first one. They think they're having two separate conversations. They don't realize she's building a complete picture. Living situation plus time availability equals feasibility assessment. She's not being manipulative. She's being efficient. She's already attracted. She's already interested. Now she's determining if the practical realities align with what she wants. And if they do, she asks the third question. This is the one most men are least prepared for because it seems the most disconnected from anything sexual. She asks about your relationship status. Not directly, though. Not in a way that sounds like she's prying or being inappropriate. She asks in a way that sounds like friendly curiosity or casual interest. So, are you seeing anyone right now? How long have you been single? Do you usually date a lot? Or are you more of a relationship person? Men often stumble over this question because they overthink it. They wonder if they should seem available but not desperate. They wonder if they should mention their ex. They wonder what answer makes them seem most attractive. None of that matters. She's not evaluating your dating history. She's not judging your relationship pattern. She's determining one specific thing: complications. Does she have to worry about a girlfriend showing up? Does she have to consider the ethics of being with someone who's technically in a relationship? Does she have to factor in emotional baggage so fresh it might ruin the moment? If you're in a relationship, that's usually a complication she'll avoid. If you're recently out of something serious and clearly not over it, that's a complication. If you're casually seeing multiple people but emotionally invested in one of them, that's a complication. But if you're single, genuinely single, and not carrying obvious wounds from recent heartbreak, that's clean. That's simple. That's what she needs to hear. This third question is the confirmation. It's the final piece of information she requires before deciding whether to move forward or let the moment dissolve into nothing. Here's what happens when all three answers align. She's established that logistics work. Your place is accessible, your time is available, your relationship status is uncomplicated, the practical barriers are gone. Now she creates the opportunity. She doesn't say, let's go back to your place and have sex. That's not how this works. Instead, she suggests something adjacent, something that sounds innocent but leads in the right direction. I'm kind of hungry. Do you want to grab something to eat? I don't really feel like going home yet. We should continue this conversation somewhere more comfortable. Men who don't understand what just happened think this is the beginning of something. They think she's suggesting a date. They think they need to plan where to eat or what to do next. They don't realize the decision has already been made. She's not hungry. She doesn't care about food. She's creating a logical transition from where you are now to where she wants to be. She's giving you the opportunity to invite her to your place without her having to directly suggest it. She's making it easy for you. And if you miss it, if you suggest going to a restaurant across town, or if you mention you should probably head home soon because you have that early meeting, she doesn't push. She doesn't clarify. She just lets it go. The moment closes. The opportunity passes. She goes home. You go home, and you never know what you missed because she never tells you. Here's the thing about female desire that makes men uncomfortable when they finally understand it. It's not romantic. It's not passive. It's not waiting for you to make the first move or create the perfect moment. When a woman wants you sexually, she's already 10 steps ahead. She's already run the scenarios. She's already determined feasibility. She's just waiting to see if you're paying attention. The three questions aren't tests of your personality or your potential as a partner. They're practical assessments. Can this happen? Will this work? Are there complications I can't navigate? And if the answers satisfy her, she'll create the opening. But you still have to recognize it. You still have to accept the invitation that's being offered. Most men don't. They think women are mysterious. They think female desire is complicated. They think they need to decode elaborate signals or wait for explicit permission. Meanwhile, she's already asked her 3 questions. She's already decided. She's already made it as clear as she's willing to make it. You just weren't listening. This pattern repeats constantly. At bars, at parties, at coffee shops, at work events. Anywhere attraction happens between strangers or acquaintances, this sequence plays out. 3 questions, 3 pieces of information, 1 assessment. Women who recognize their own attraction don't waste time hoping you'll eventually make a move. They're not sitting around waiting for you to gather courage. They're pragmatic. They're direct in their own way. They ask what they need to know, and if the conditions are right, they make it possible. But they won't beg. They won't spell it out. They won't risk rejection by being too explicit. So they use questions. They use conversation. They use what sounds like innocent small talk to gather the intelligence they need. And when you answer without realizing what you're revealing, when you volunteer information about your empty apartment and your free evening and your uncomplicated status, you're handing her everything she needs to decide. The question is whether you'll recognize what happens next, whether you'll understand that when she suggests continuing the conversation somewhere else, she's not talking about finding a better bar. Whether you'll see that when she mentions she doesn't feel like going home yet, she's telling you she wants to go somewhere specific. Whether you'll finally understand that female desire isn't a mystery you need to solve. It's a language you need to learn to speak. 3 questions, always 3. Before the moment when decision becomes action, before attraction turns into something tangible, she needs to know 3 things: where, when, and whether anyone will complicate this. If you've ever wondered why some men seem to consistently recognize when women are interested while others remain perpetually confused, this is why. It's not charm. It's not looks. It's not some innate gift for reading minds. It's pattern recognition. It's paying attention. It's understanding that when she asks about your living situation, your schedule, and your relationship status within the same conversation, she's not making small talk. She's building a map. She's removing obstacles. She's determining if what she wants is actually possible. And if you answer correctly, if the logistics align, she'll make the next move so subtle you might still miss it. But now you know what to listen for. Now you know what those 3 questions actually mean. Now you can't unhear them when they arrive. The question is what you'll do with that knowledge, whether you'll recognize the pattern when it appears in your own life. Whether you'll understand that the woman asking about your roommate situation and your plans for tomorrow isn't just being friendly. She's already decided she wants you. She's just making sure nothing prevents it from happening. 3 questions, 3 answers, 1 opportunity. Most men miss it entirely. Don't say, "Nobody warned you."